Yanetrita Seta Sen Nukheka Nubraku Nupara Nukheka Nukheka Discover Natarian philosophy through music, through video lectures, and through books by Sabai Dr. Muata Ashby. Peace be with you.
When Ra brews, Ra in the form of Tim, when he brews spittle, and that spittle mixes with the earth, it's such that a set takes that spittle which mixed with the earth and fashions it, makes it into the form of a serpent. And that serpent eventually is put in a place where Ra travels or traverses the heavens. Eventually, it bites Ra at some point along Ra's journey.
Right.
So I guess what I'm getting at, is that what you mean in terms of metaphysics?
What we mean in terms of metaphysics is not to expect to see drill coming down from the sky.
I mean, well,
we're talking
not literally, but in the sense of opening yourself up to understand that Ra, how can I say? You have to sort of intuit it, I guess.
Yes, part of it is intuition, but part of it is metaphysics. What I was bringing the point of is that from a metaphysical standpoint, what we're talking about is not a physical earth and physical spittle.
Sure.
And this is what's going to be explained now, actually. But I also want to make the other side. I want to make the point of if she's a woman, as we're told, and she doesn't have goddess powers, how is she going to accomplish this? Which also relates to how are we going to accomplish it.
But didn't she has knowledge of magic through divine chant?
But she's a woman now. She doesn't really have that power.
Okay.
She's trying to regain that.
Okay.
I was going to say desire. That she's something about her desire that she wanted to make this happen just because she wants it, and she's constructed a way to kind of go after it that is manifested. And Ron knows this, so he's going to, allow her desire to be strong enough so that he can reveal some secrets to her.
It's a nice idea.
It doesn't work.
It sounds good.
Is the serpent that she fashions the serpent power that we use to?
He must have read it ahead. We'll get into that. Okay. Okay, so we got up to this point. She creates a sacred serpent, an infallible serpent that has a harpoon shape, so that no one can get away from it alive. After a person gets to know this serpent, and this person meaning a divine person, which of course is referring to Ra. So yes, she takes the spittle and she mixes it up with a little bit of earth and creates a serpent. And she places it in the place where Ra traverses the sky. He comes forth, and then he gets bitten, and he falls ill. He's down for the count. So now let us look into this idea of the Tafi Shepsi. Tafi, the serpent, and Shepsi, exalted, holy serpent. And here, the Hatu, the harpoon. The harpoon is also in the symbol for Ura, which means one. What I'm getting at is that from a metaphorical, funny standpoint, the harpoon being Ua, meaning one, means it's something that we can read into the concept of the harpoon in this context of a serpent that bites Ra, in the way of meaning that it is through oneness, one-pointedness, through certainness, through directness, that the spirit is harpoon. And this may seem like a kind of a violent, you're attacking God and you're going to, but God, as you said before, God doesn't mind, right? Because He let the spittle come down and he knew that it was coming down. So, and this is something that we're going to find out that you're expected to do. You're expected to harpoon God, so that you can get Him to reveal His true name.
Is the spittle a metaphor for spirit?
Yes. That was the key that we were getting to. Say it loud for everybody to hear.
I was asking, was the spittle, or is the spittle a metaphor for spirit?
And what is the earth a metaphor for then?
Divine.
Wait a second, hold on a second.
Mortality, body,
Mortality, physicality, temporalness versus eternity.
Immortality.
Okay? So she has fashioned something that mixes up eternity and
Mortality.
That's what we got so far. You were saying something?
I was asking, where did you hear this kind of formula before? Would it be in the beginning lecture? What did I say was going to be your menu for the week?
Of the mandrake.
Mandrake, what represents the
Sajir.
spirit.
Sajir.
Same thing, idea of the spittle. Is that mandrake and the rock, but himself, the mandrake is his soul. The soul is the rock that infused into the soul.
Okay. So now to the Tafi Shepsi. Let's go through, with the time that we have left, we're going through this section. And Tafi Shepsi. Tafi meaning the serpent, and Shepsi meaning divine or holy, exalted, honored. And Shepsi. This is an S and this is a Y. And this is a scroll, which means what?
Abstract.
And this means
Priest or man.
It means divinity.
Okay.
A god or goddess. So a serpent that is holy, that is sacred, and there's something transcendental about it. That's you read into the scroll. So the abstractness. This serpent that was picked was not picked at random. There's a special serpent of the goddess. This is known as the basket of Aset. And this particular one was used was found in one of the Roman temples that we showed you yesterday. It has 3.5 turns, and that relates us to the concept of what is known as the serpent power or Arat Shekem. Each turn relates to a state of consciousness, dullness, agitation, lucidity, and the half turn represents transcendental consciousness, or reaching into transcendence. And for the details on this, you can get into, we're going to go a little bit overview, but you can go into the Serpent Power book for the details on this. So what I'm getting is that there's a highly metaphysical and philosophical, mystical philosophy going on here. And also there is a metaphysics that's related to the serpent power as well. Why should there be 3.5 turns? If we look at the Shaft of Ma'at from the Kemet Papyrus, we see 7 spheres. These spheres are called Sefek Ba-Ra. Sefek means 7, and Ba means soul, and Ra means the divine, the divinity. They are also referred to as the 7 arms of Ma'at, and there are other names for it as well. But here, referring to the souls of Ra. We all have these souls as individual, or we all have these spheres of consciousness, and Ra has the universal ones, that from which all of ours are sustained, or they emanate. And this is why in the balance scales of Ma'at, they are part of the spiritual constitution of the psychic body of a human being, and they relate to the level of consciousness that a human being has attained. The 4 uppermost, or the 3 lowermost, relate to, well, we're going to get to that, so we're going to leave that for now. We'll move forward. So let's talk about right now the turns. Why should there be 3.5 turns? The spiritual journey starts, usually in the spiritual teaching is related that spiritual study starts, or the creation starts, from the transcendent coming down into the creation and going down to the first sphere, which is in the earth, coming around for 1 turn into the 6th energy center, going around again to the 2nd, 1 more turn to the 5th, 3rd, and then going back to the 4th. That's the creation movement. The dissolution movement starts at the heart, coming around for 1 turn to the 3rd center, another turn to the 2nd, another turn to the 1st, and then a half turn back to the 7th. So 3.5 turns. That 3.5 turn process leads us back to enlightened consciousness. That's the symbolism of the 3.5 turns of the serpent. In terms of how we know that we are relating ourselves to a dissolution movement. Creation, we come into existence. Dissolution, we're going out of existence. We know that we're talking about dissolution movement because we have the terminology Shepsi being given to us, as opposed to a creation movement. The human body has the same energy centers. The centers that are being looked at in the balance scales of Ma'at are the same centers that a human being has. And it turns out that the book of Jehuti was relating to these same centers, the book that I told you about at the beginning of the lecture. And the hieroglyphic text that he was being directed to was leading him to find this. But he didn't do it in a not bad way, as the set was talking about. And so he led himself to disaster. These colors that are given are usually rated in this way. You find some different versions of it. It usually goes from a dark, kind of like earthy red, going all the way through the colors to purple, all the way at the top. And these are related as colors that are seen when one meditates on these energy centers. And these colors have been given by the sages. If we superimpose the movement, we start at the heart, moving around the energy centers, and eventually coming up to the top, where transcendence occurs. However, before transcendence, we arrive at the third eye level, which is the forehead. And that level is the level where enlightened human beings operate in the world of time and space, having higher consciousness, but also having awareness of time and space. If you're in transcendental consciousness, you cannot have awareness of time and space. And there are some sages who have existed that way. They attain higher consciousness, and they transcend all the time. So somebody else has to take care of their bodies for them. Somebody else has to wash them. Somebody else has to feed them. Something else has to do it until they come out of their transcendental consciousness. And that form of practice is not promoted because those personalities who exist in that way cannot be a help to society. They're not going to be a help for humanity if they're transcending all the time. How I do a lecture like this if I'm like this all the time, like quiet? Of course, there'll be nothing on the screen. You will just come sit here and watch me. I say, oh, how wonderful, he's transcendent. But you don't understand how, you don't receive a teaching, you don't receive a philosophy, any disciplines to do it. And so that's why it's not promoted. Some teachers who have done that, they do, like Ramana Maharishi, he came out of it every so often, giving some teachings, and he goes into it for weeks or months at a time, that kind of thing. And he's an example of one of those who's been that way. And there have been others. But this is not promoted in our tradition, per se. Now, as far as the origin of the serpent power, the Arat Shechem. Arat, remember we talked about the symbol of the Riri Cobra. And especially when you have the headdress on, you're talking about a goddess. And this is the word for Sekhem. This is the S. And the K, or the CHM. This symbol here is actually a second symbol. You may find this, instead of the whole word written out, you will find this symbol alone, meaning Sekhem. It is a staff that is held, or it can be held by royalty also. Our second means serpent power. And the earliest known depiction or monument depicting the concept of a serpent power with its understanding as a relation of a teaching of higher consciousness is found in the Great Sphinx of ancient Egypt, the Hodemakhet. And the dating is conservatively from 7 to 10,000 BC. And of course we know that it's much earlier than that. This same concept you see in the headdress of the Pharaonic imagery. The Pharaonic imagery is relating us to all the way back in the dynastic period, to all the way back thousands of years into the distant past, to the Sphinx concept. The headdress is actually in the image of the mane of a lion. That's what it's supposed to mean. And the lion relating to the lion power, which is the same lion that produces the second. And the original lioness goddess is Tefnut. Tefnut is the first daughter of Ra. Okay, so without suggesting that we should, the time is getting close, that we should go ahead, since we're starting this section, that we should go ahead and break here for lunch, and then come back and start here. That's it?
That's
We're continuing now with the mythic legend story of Ra and Set. We're going to just do 3 minutes of recap. And where we kind of left off, we went over it, and I was going to continue because we're going to hit this again. But there was some discussion after the break about the issue of how Lady Aset, the question I asked you, how did Lady Aset create a holy serpent, a sacred serpent out of earth and spittle? Do we find a solar spittle laying around easily to be found? And if we start molding mud into a serpent, will that move around and go and poison the sun up in the sky. No. And she's a mortal woman like us at this point. So if she did it, how can we do it? The question was what are we talking about then? Are we talking about physical earth, and we got to that point, or we're talking about a physical serpent here, the physical sun that's being poisoned? Or what is being poisoned? What is going on here? And someone said is a metaphor for the sun, which is spirit, and the earth, which is, we said it was physical, the temporality. We got to that point, right? And so then, if that is the case, then what is it that she is working with that we need to be working with? I want to make sure that this point is very well inculcated in you right now. What does that mean then? The principle of physicality, principle of spirit, we got to that point. In context of Lady Aset, what was she manipulating that we need to manipulate also?
The cosmos.
Cosmos? Anybody else?
Life force.
Life force? Anybody else?
Intuition.
Intuition?
Wisdom, knowledge. That's my first.
Anybody else?
Her life and path.
The what?
Her life and path.
Her life and path. Okay. Anybody else?
All the energy centers.
Okay. Anybody else back there?
That's it. The manipulation of time and space, understanding time and space, and you can use the same time and space used in order to penetrate the realms of transcendental.
Okay. Some of you got it. Parts of it you want to add to it?
What are we talking about? Accepted by rock?
Yeah, somebody mentioned already the energy centers, yes. And that's part of it. Someone mentioned mind, or what is that thing you said? Intuition, that's part of it. What we are manipulating is principle of physicality, as we discussed, principle of matter, principle of spirit. And that is, remember I talked earlier that if you don't do these things in the physical realm, actually this kind of work is done in the ka body, is done in the astral plane. And that's your astral body, your ka, which is your mental plane. Now, as far as the physical practices, the rituals, and all that has its place, like the ritual we did last night and that kind of thing, it's used to help to direct your physical nature towards a higher spiritual principle or higher spiritual state, shall I say, that you can do this work in. So the rituals, they're all, and the devotional aspect, the reflections on philosophy, the Machian order, culture, all these are to mold your physical personality to make it a proper vessel so that you can do this work on a higher spiritual plane. And yes, it involves the serpent power, as we have started to see in the next slide. So this is why she was able to make this kind of serpent. And this kind of serpent, this one-pointed movement that pierces through the illusoriness of the divine. Because as we're starting, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but I want to prepare you so we can finally answer the question in a definitive way. That this one-pointedness pierces through the illusoriness of what? Of time and space, which is a manifestation of
Spirit.
Of spirit. Of Ra, who has created all these things. These are manifestations of him. And really, you see earth, you see sand, you see sky, all these are not really earth, the sand, and sky. These are Geb, this is Nu, right? This is Shu, who's in between here is the air. And that's how you need to be starting to see the world. Not as trees, not as matter. From a practical standpoint, it can be manipulated that way. But this is actually divinity that we're involved in. Coagulated divinity. And this is why she was able to do that as a human being. Why? Because she has part of her, even though she's ignorant from the standpoint of enlightenment, she has part of her which is what?
Divine.
And part of her which is what?
It's a one time and space.
Exactly. So, and this is a kind of philosophy that later became known as the philosopher's stone in the Western culture, the Western mystics, where you're transforming a particular stone called philosopher's stone into a higher form of metal. You turn like from lead to gold, and that kind of thing. So it's a metaphor that's given. The transmutation of a personality.
So-called alchemy.
Alchemy, the same thing. Okay. So move ahead now. Kathy Shepsey. This is another question that came up during the break. We'll go over it quickly. The movement of dissolution, movement of creation. This is pertinent because we're giving here a metaphor of the basket of Aset, which has the serpent of Aset with the 3.5 turns, which is why it's relevant here. The movement of creation and dissolution occurs in a spiraling kind of energetic format. Usually, when we talk about the movement of a certain power as a disciplinary practice, we usually talk about a vertical movement, and the elementary practice of the serpent power, which relates to developing and awakening the energy centers of the life force energy, which is in your subtle spine, which is not in your physical spine, right? It's in your subtle body, your astral body spine. We usually talk about them as a vertical development system, from 1 to develop to 2 to 3, and that does work. But also there is a kind of a helical or spiraling kind of movement, whereby it is explained that the life force can be used or can be, shall we say, dissolved or created by, the best way to explain it is by accumulation of certain of the energy centers, not in a vertical, but in a spiraling movement. So, from creation, the level number 7, which is a transcendent, beyond time and space, energy comes into time and space, into the lowest, and then from there comes back up to a level which is just below the highest, and the energy comes down to a lower vibrational level at that point. And then it comes down for even lower. Here we have the energy moving from the heart center, coming around to the 3rd energy center, that's in your solar plexus. And in this kind of movement, you're moving the energy of the heart into the energy of the solar plexus. Those 2 energies, you're moving them back now into the throat energy center. And then those 3 energies now, you're moving them back around, down into the sexual energy center, into the water energy center. And now you see how you're accumulating that energy in a helical, in a spiraling kind of format. If we're thinking about it in a vertical sense, we're going to start here, accumulating it. You're dissolving the energy of earth into water, water into fire, fire into air, and so on and so forth. So it's a different kind of movement that we're discussing. We don't usually talk about the spiraling kind of movement because it's more of an elaborate system. It's more of a detailed oriented system that of course is prominent in the teaching, but we don't talk about it that much. A lot of times because it's probably too much for most people to handle for for one thing. It's usually just best to give a basic format.
Samad, I'm trying to figure out my question, but I noticed 2 arrows. For creation, you go down in spiraling motion, and dissolution, you go up. How does that apply to one's enlightenment journey between the two? Because they're just juxtaposed, of course.
Well, the energy is like a barometer, depending on the environment, on the weather. Your barometer goes up and down, and that's how most people are. Sometimes people they're feeling good and they feel like in their heart they want to open up and they feel airy, and sometimes they feel magnanimous and they feel powerful. That energy center at the throat. Sometimes they feel down and dirty and sexual and they want to go and hang out with their friends and get down and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes people feel worse. They feel like they're down in the earth and they want to eat pork and chitlins and smoke, all those dull things. And but most people are in between. And so remember what we said here, the lower turn here coming into dullness, the second turn, into agitation. This is how it's set up basically. The lower energy centers, especially the lower 3, as the Amit monster is separating the two, really relate to the lower nature, and 4 above relate to the higher. But most people, sometimes they may find themselves going up a bit, and then they come down and not feeling depressed or feeling bad, and they come up. And the idea is to come up and stay up. That's, of course, the goal. Was that your answer to your question?
Actually, I was looking more for a differentiation between disillusion and creation.
Differentiation. What is the differentiation you mean by that?
Are they different based on the symbols that you have there? For example, they both start at 7.
Well, actually, no, that's not true. The dissolution movement starts at 4.
Pardon me, 4. So yeah. Now it's coming back to me. So dissolution starts at 4, and creation, if I understand correctly, starts at 7. So they start at different points, and they have different movements. One is upward, as noted earlier, and one is downward. Which category, for example, would a sage fall into? Is it both or one or the other?
Maybe it's both or one or the other.
Would they fall in
the sage has caused the movement and has caused the movement or the energy to raise through all these lower ones and up into the higher ones and to remain there.
Okay, now creation.
What about creation?
Is it different? Well, symbolically it's different, but I guess...
Different in what way? See how the mind of a physicist works with this stuff. The difference is the same energy, but the difference is in the movement. The movement, it's the same energy, same serpent, but it's just the difference is in the movement.
And their starting points, of course.
Well, the starting point really, yes, denotes a direction of the movement, a direction in which the energy is developed. Like when we're doing a ritual, we're trying to cause energy to move in a certain direction. So it's all depending on that. It's the same energy that a person uses to create weapons and drop bombs with someone. The same energy they can use to create buildings and create institutions and schools. Same energy, but how's it directed? That's the question.
They cancel them, right?
Cancel?
I mean, if you put them side by side and looked at them as, can you look at, okay, that's it, and I'm going to let it go.
Well, in time and space, the energy is always dynamic, so it has to be a movement.
Okay.
So either you're moving up or down, you have to move somewhere. If you're beyond it, then it doesn't matter. But in time and space, the energy is dynamic, and that's why the also is related to the movement of the serpent, which is wavy, but also it's related as a female kind of move. Women are always moving. From the perspective of males, the movement of a woman is like that also, and it's always enticing and that kind of thing. And men have less movement. And this is why Geb is in the earth and Mut is the heavens. She has all the clouds and the stars are constantly moving around, and she's, bowing and taking the sun over her and all that kind of thing. So it's the same energy, but the direction of the movement is the key to understanding.
Sibai, you had caveat to that. Should we understand as creation creates, using that word, starts in the subtle into the gross?
That's also part of it. You can
And that's why creation, because I was thinking about the arrows, I was thinking well, creation should be up and dissolution down. But due to what I just heard, it's like moves from the subtle nature coming down into matter, physicality, and dissolution.
Begins in the subtle.
Begins in the subtle.
In the gross.
Right, and the other way is the dissolvement of creation.
Right, and you should think of this. You should also think of this dynamic aspect of the second, which is really what it is, through the ara, as not exactly the same as the matter of creation itself. This is like an energy that is moving through and causing a certain either coagulation or dissolution in it. So your serpent power is causing your energy centers to dissolve, in other words. And with it, your ego consciousness, which is what those are also anyway in the final analysis.
In the one more thing, so in the act of enlightenment, would you say it's dissolution?
Yes, of course. Oh, that's for sure.
And that's basically what I was getting at. The sagely path is the disillusion movement.
Yes. Yes.
Dissolving of the individual ego.
Yes. That's essentially the same thing.
Page 165, 166 of Serpent Power.
Now watch the little animation I put on there, so you see the spiraling movement. Beginning at 3, that's 4, then 3, then going to 5, to 2, to 6, coming around to 1, and then to 6. Let's move through here quickly. We've been through this already. This is a expanded picture of the front of the Great Sphinx. So you can see here, there was a section where the head of the serpent and on the forehead of the Sphinx was. This is the same imagery that is found. This is the mask of Tutankhamun. That same serpent, when the early European explorers went to Egypt, they found that this had fallen down from the forehead, and it was at the base here. They found it under some rubble and some sand that had come all into the enclosure of the Sphinx. This is now in the museum in London. Now this is a kind of headdress, and we have something similar to this in our packed up materials. It is a kind of headdress that is worn by for the ritual practice. It has a Uwajit and Nekabet, the same serpent, and on this particular one, it is very distinctive because the body of the serpent goes across the top of the head, which follows the division of the two hemispheres of the brain. coming down and separating along the side of the head. So from the duality we come through to the non-duality. The Wajid and Ichabod are really two parts of the same. Well, you see iconography of the two serpents with two heads and one body. This is the same idea that we're given here. Give an idea that the serpent power is really one, manifesting as a duality, as a two. I just wanted to show you this quickly. This is the actual papyri of Kenna. Kenna was the initiate for which this particular papyrus was prepared. It's a Kuru papyrus, the Book of the Dead, they prepared for different people, and this was for Kenna. This is the image that you have seen before in a line drawing, so you can see it very clearly. And this is the actual papyri where Lord Jehuti is here, looking at the balance of the heart, and Ma'at is on this side. She's presiding over the balance. This is herself in here as well. So the heart is being balanced against the goddess herself, the Mahafian order and philosophy. And here you have 1, 2, 3, and you have the Amun monster dividing or biting the Shah, the Ma, between the third and fourth energy centers. Then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have another one which is the transcendental one here. We've shown some of this already, so let us skip through a little bit. This is again the line drawing, so you can get a better look at how the divisions are made. Those who are relating themselves to a lower form of consciousness in life, or conscience, they are operating on the 3 lower energy centers. The level of the earth, which is related to issues of food, the level of water, which is sex, the level of solar plexus, which is egoism, or ego will. And for those people, purification of these gross impurities is enjoined through Ma'atian practice. Usually people like that, they will not be able to receive higher instruction. They need to be purified with the liquor of Ma'at first before they're able to have a greater entry into the teachings. Now there are 4 levels above, and those are people who are beginning to experience expansion in consciousness, and they are more able to have higher instruction because they're expanding beyond their egoism. Now, we talked about the air of life, or the life that is in air. Remember we spoke earlier? The air of life that Ra brings into existence. This is here, Goddess Sekhmet. These are the 2 serpents that we spoke about just a few minutes ago, with the 2 heads and the 1 body. This gives us the same idea. This actually is the same thing as this. This is the caduceus, which became more popular in modern times with the usage by the medical establishment. Also, they get it from the Greek, which was used by Hippocrates, but it really comes from the ancient Egyptian. So you have the 2 serpents, the 1 shaft in the middle, and they are one same energy. The same energy that can be used for creation can be used for dissolution. If the energy was to reach the uppermost levels, it takes flight. And that is what the wings symbolize. This energy comes from the goddess herself, from Ra through Tefnut. Remember I said who's the original lion power goddess, and then that manifests through the leonine aspect of all the goddesses, including Sekhmet, including Heru, including Set. These are all aspects of the same goddess. And here, in this particular relief, goddess Sekhmet is transmitting the air of life to an initiate through the breath, the second energy. And it is one of the traditions, like in our modern times, especially based on Western culture, people are used to kissing on the mouth. In many cultures, and including at least in the ancient period, in ancient Egypt, the practice was of putting the nose together and smelling each other's breath or breathing each other's breath. That was seen as an intimate way of communing with another person because you're exchanging energy with them. Whereas in modern times here, it's more of a physical kissing. These four energy centers relate to the four energy centers of the pillar of Asar. You have the four divisions, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. They relate to the back of Asar and of Ptah, actually, in a way that they're related. When this pillar, if you recall, when Aset found the body of Asar, she retrieved it. It had grown into a tree. She had retrieved it. It was in this form. When Asar's body is horizontal, it means that he is in death state. And there was a ritual practice of lifting up the pillar of Asar from a horizontal position to a vertical position. There was a ritual practice of that also that we have not done.
If anyone came to the conference, and then it has to. Here was before.
Here we do it. It's a large pillar, a large one.
That he was there.
Well, that was a while ago.
I'm sorry. Please.
So the Sefek Bara is also called the seven arms of Ma'at. And those same seven are also given in another papyri called the Griffin papyri, which relates the seven centers as rings. So it's different depictions of the same concept. And here you have, and this one you have the goddess in her double form as Ma'ati. Putting those together, we get a 7 energy centers or 7 rings. The Greenfield papyrus. Now, in the North Pole of the sky, in reference to the stars, but also from the same region, the North Pole comes the north wind. The north wind is the same wind that Aset uses. She blows it with her wings to resurrect Asar. After her wisdom reconstituted his body, parts, then the wings blow on the body to infuse it with life force that emanates from the cool northern region, from the place where there is immortality, from the place where the Sabat-Ur is located, from the realm of enlightenment. Now we're still talking about, we're still within the story, but now we went to the Tafi Shepsi, the servant power, and now we're looking at another aspect of the goddess, of her selection for the Shepsi, which means the enlightened beings. If you go to the night sky, if you look in the northern sky, you can see, and if you have time-lapse photography, you can see that there are some stars in the North Pole that seem to stay static. They seem to stay put, while the other stars move around the sky because the Earth is turning. But in the North Pole axis, those stars are going to seem to have less motion or no motion at all. And those stars are related, or in a metaphorical sense, they are associated with souls that have reached a state of conscience that is still, or that does not fluctuate. Like to give you an idea, the sun is always shining, as opposed to the moon, which is not always shining. Sometimes it's in its new moon phase, but it's completely dark. Sometimes it's quarter, sometimes it's half, a crescent, or a waning. But the sun is always on. These, in the same way, these stars are always on. They never go around the sky and go under the horizon, which is a kind of death, metaphorically, and then they come out again, which is a kind of birth. They are therefore related as the stars of immortality, and these are the stars of reincarnation. And these are the stars that it says directing herself to, and this particular star formation is used in the ritual practice of the opening of the mouth, something we're not going to get into today. So as we talked about it, we've alluded to the concept of opening the mouth, with the bandage over the mouth, and we talked about that. And this instrument is called the Sabah Ur. These are all Sabahs. Sabah means a star. You see I have a bracelet. Sabah has a bracelet that has stars on it. You have stars. It means something that illumines, something that teaches. And the Sabah Ur means great, the great illuminer, the great illumination. And so with the great illumination, you can open the mouth or open up consciousness. Now, recalling now, coming back to the myth. Recall that Aset had poison Ra, right? Mm-hmm. And then we started looking into more detail into what the Tafi Shepsi was, the serpent. And then we had a little tangent there, and then we're coming back. Teknu Aset Keri Akt Set Aset Ped Rahevder Setem Napu and Chest Set. Approaching Aset, possessing under control divine, she place mouth hers as wind of life. Ties she person expel. I'll read them first and then we'll go through all of it. Next line. Bentu Betu Set Se'an Gau Hatiu. So now that Asar has taken ill, the gods and goddesses came in, he asked them for help, and they couldn't help him. Ra was taken ill. He was taken by the gods and goddesses, which are his children. They put him in a bed, and he is sick. And here, it says that she is approaching the place where Ra is laying sick. She's approaching with words of power. Words that control the serpent is really what is being referred to here. She has those words in her mouth, which contain the wind or the air of life. Nafu is also a pun on the word naf for freedom also. This word chist here means something that binds, something that ties, or something that controls. So her words can control, and they can cause something to expel. And of course, we're talking about the poison that has stricken Ra and caused her to be sick. Sickness, words, hers, make obstruction, or make to live. The obstruction of the Ukedu, which is in the throat, is bad. What she has done is that she has created a situation where the poison has begun to cause a Ukedu. Ukedu is a disease process that obstructs the metu in the body and does not allow the energy and the juices to flow properly, which causes a deadly situation. This is why I say Hata di Sineke di Metuwash. This offering is made so that the divinity may cause our metus to be green and unobstructed, so we can have health and vitality. And the Ukedu is the opposite of Waj, of greenery, of health. And it's also said that it's also referred to as when a person dies, they have Ukedu in their throat, which makes them unable to breathe, and so they expire. So Aset approaches Ra with this capacity, these words that can give life. And let's see what she does with that. Jed said, Ma, Hui, Atat, Netet, Bet, Petet, Jed, Fet, Kafi, Ben Menu. Said she, hey, this body, Father, God, dagger, serpent bit, colossal greatness. This is a kind of, what I did here, for you to understand, what I did here is a direct translation. What you usually would do with some of this, because the format of speech in ancient Egyptian is different from our Western kind of speech pattern, which also relates to the way that people think. So I want to present this more in this way so that it'll kind of jog your minds into a different way of looking at speech pattern and a different way of understanding. She said she, instead of saying she said, we said she. The verb comes before the object of the verb or the pronoun. Hey, this body, Father, or hey, this. Otherwise, it would be said, hey, God, or Father, your body has a dagger in it of a serpent. You are colossal greatness. But actually, this is a kind of a sarcasm that she's giving here. Hey. Your body, it has a serpent dagger in it, but you are the colossal greatness. How could this have happened to you? You are this great divinity. It's something you created, stabbed you. How is that possible? The dagger is the same harpoon, the same takishetsu that we were talking about. It was referred to as the dagger serpent in this particular statement. Next line. Jedin Ase and Ra. Jed and then Netet. Said by Aset to Ra, me tell to I, name divine thine. So this is the big question that we've been leading to the whole time, that she's gonna. But now she's got an advice. Now he can't just say no. I'm not gonna answer you. Leave me alone. She's got him an advice because he's on his deathbed and he doesn't realize this yet, but he has to agree to answer the question. So Aset said to Ra, tell to me your divine name. Oh, we don't have for some reason they come out, the correct translation. Atef neter, neter ank, se'a, tu head, plen, Father Divine, divine life is for those who, understanding you, person, name, he. So she says to Ra, those who understand your name, the divine life is for them. Meaning that for those who are able to discover the name of Ra, they will have a divine existence, they will have an exalted existence, a Shepsi existence, an enlightened existence. If they understand person named He, which is person named He is Asar, the Father Divine.
Where is that?
This actual picture is taken from the picture below. This is one of the tombs, I believe, one of the tombs of the nobles, or it's in the Valley of the Kings. I'm not sure which one this is. This is taken from one of the rooms in the Abu Simbel temple of Amun in Aswan. Or, sorry, Abu Simbel. There's the great temple with the great monuments of Ra and sitting in the front. It looks like the Mount Rushmore.
Before the are those what they call the Colossus of Memnon? Is that what?
No, that's in a different area. This is all the way in the south of the country. But they're just as tall as that. This is Ramses. The temple of Abu Ramses. So now, what is happening is that Ra is going to answer her request. He says, Anu Ari Peta Tis Ju Kamau or Kemamu, sorry. Un and tu Hereth. I am maker of heaven and earth, tier of mountains, creator, things being on them. Oh, tire, sorry. Which means that he's using the same symbol we used before, the color before, which said not. He is the one who ties up things into the world of time and space. He's the one who binds, in essence. So that's his first statement in answer to her question to reveal his name. He says Anuk, the same as Nuk, but here it's spelled with Anuk, I am. And then we have Ari, which means the maker of, creator of, or doer of. And then we have Pet, and then we have Ta, heaven and earth, binder, tire, of mountains, and Kamal, creator of things or beings, animals, and so on and so forth that exist, and then Hereth, that exist on them or on heat. He referred to, I guess, the earth as Get was the god, the male god of the earth. And he continues. Anu ka arimu kepertu menhurt ari ka and muda I am maker waters. I brought Mehut into existence, and the maker of the bull of his mother. These statements here, remember that we said also that Ra is self-created, but then he seemed to contradict himself later when he said that his mother and father who created him put his divine name in it when they were creating him, and so it's not for anyone's view, it's a hidden secret. And here again, it's saying that he created Mehut. Mehut means mighty fullness. Meh means fullness, and Ut means great. And we're going to see a picture of her later on. And Mehut is related, she's an aspect of the goddess Net, the goddess of creation. So, who created who then at this point? We are told in the mythology of goddess Net that she gave birth to Ra, to the sunless. So all of a sudden it's starting to sound contradictory. So you're getting little clues here as to the contradictoriness of Ra's status as a supreme being. And also he says he created the bull of his mother. The bull of his mother is a terminology in Kemetic philosophy that relates to self-created nature. If you are the bull of your mother, if you are the one who sired the cow that gave birth to you, who's the only one who can do that?
You are the supreme divinity.
Excuse me?
You are the creator of all forms.
You are the creator of yourself.
Right.
So he's basically another way of saying I am the self-created one. So it sounds again contradictory.
Absolutely.
And this is a picture of goddess Mehut. This is another picture of Ra in his full golden form. You see that goddess Mehut has the Mekaku, which is the flail, with 3 sections, 3 divisions. It means that she is the controller of the 3 worlds, the top head and Duat. And this is a Menat necklace, which is the typical artifact used by the goddess to transmit her female essence or female energy to initiates or to whoever they want to.
3 worlds being physical, astral, causal.
Right, top head, Duat. And he continues. Keperu Nejem Yu Nuk A Arifet Zes Tau Aketi Neter. He is also saying that he brought into being enjoyments of sex. I made heaven, hidden horizons, divinity. He's saying that he created the divinity who was in the horizons, which is Herakuti, which is another manifestation of Horemaket, which is the supreme being as well. This right here is a picture of goddess Nut and the god Geb after they were separated by Shu. You see that Geb has his penis erect. When they were together, they were locked in a sexual embrace, and this is just before the birth of the 5 divinities that came out afterwards, the Asara, Set, Nebuchadnezzar, and Heru-Ur. This here, and this is from, would be considered from Amunian theology. Here, the picture is of Min, or Amsu Min. He is a form of Amun, a son of Amun in a sense. He is a counterpart of Heru in Theban theology. You see here he has the 3-fold flail, the Nekaku symbol as well. And this is from the tombs of the nobles. We have 2 typical looking couples depicted from the tomb reliefs. So he's saying that he created the mountains and everything on them. He created the joys of sex. He created the mehurt, and he created the goal of his mother. Okay, this is all in answer to her question. She's asking her, what is your name? And he's saying all this stuff that he's talking about. The two divinities in the horizon, this is Akur. Akur is also another name for Shu and Tefnut, who were the first, who together with Ra created the first Trinity, and of course the duality that allowed all creation to come into existence. Also Horemaket, and on Earth, as well as the Horemaket in the constellation Leo in the sky, together with the sun passing between them, also makes a horizon. But this one is related to something on the order of the great year system and the different ages of humanity. This is a more, what I'm trying to get to is that this is a more earthly symbology. This is a cosmic. That's the best way to explain it for right now.
The flail symbolizing the master of creation. Is that what's symbolized here as well? See the three flags that's on the flail?
The three
like
sections of the flail, right, represent the three worlds.
Okay.
And the one who holds that is a master of those three worlds.
Such as what we have up here on each side of the.
It's similar to that.
Similar.
Although this is a flag, and it has the three, which actually means the same thing.
It means the same.
Correct. It means the same thing, but this is a different iconography. The flail has actually sections of wood and jewels and different things like that, and gold. This is a different kind of iconography, but it means the same thing. And next, Ra says, Peri dik aba neter nu neteru and aken nu perset. Buildings given eye, souls but godly, these divinities and bodies these buildings. The buildings he's referring to, these are buildings of the gods and goddesses. We have the determinative of the gods and goddesses, of two divinities here, which means gods and goddesses. And the buildings are their bodies. And the bodies are the visible manifestation of creation that you see here. Not just this building, but everything that you can see. A rock is the construction of a certain form, it may be illusory, but it's a construction of something. And now Ra is saying that the souls that go into those bodies, I put them there too. I put those gods and goddesses there too. And in essence, you are constructions too. Your body's a construction of matter, aggregate of matter, and your soul that enlivens it, that is, Ra saying you put that in there too. And this is the soul of initiated by the name of Ani, and this is his wife. And this is the Pur Meru of Ani, the book of the dead of Ani. And he continues. Anu ariti keperu akjaju akenu ariti. I am the opener of eyes his, and bringer into being into brilliance like shining, closing eyes his. Bringer into being darkness. Basically what, or Keperu Kekui. Basically Ra is saying, I'm the one who's, when his eyes are open, I bring in light, and the world is shining, and when my eyes close, then darkness comes to the world. I am so great and I am so wonderful, that's what I do. And these are the eyes of Ra, the sun and the moon. So he's opened his eyes, we have light, closing the eyes, we have darkness.
And this is still answering the question.
He's still answering the question. He's still trying to wiggle out of it. So now Aset replies. Oh no, he's still speaking here. Anvek and Neteru Ren Ayaf Nuf Adi Unu Duau Keteru. Not known by God's name by gods and goddesses name I his. I am maker, exist hours, bringer into being days. An, the negation, not of knowing, not of Rek, of gods and goddesses, the Neteru. Plen A-F, which is name, mind, of divinity. I, Nuk, maker of existence. U means existence as like a Un Nefer, the beautiful existence. I am maker of existence of essentially time, which means the hours, and I am the bringer into existence. Keperu here in this reference means bringer into existence days. Heru. So Heru, this is a pun on the word also for the god Heru. Heru also means day, it means light. So he's still answering the question, telling her all this stuff. So it basically means that on him depends the whole creation. Nuka Ari Ket Am Ves Keperu Katu and Peru. I am maker of the fire of life. We heard that before. The fire of life. Beginner of desires and buildings. Nuk A Kepera and Duau and Aha Ra Temu. I am Kepra in the morning, day as Ra, standing he. Temu, manifest in evening. Ami Masheru. That's why I have the pictures of. Start up again. The three forms of Ra, Kepru, Ra, and Tem. We have the morning Ra. We have the daytime Ra. And then we have the evening Ra. So he is the creator of Nehurt. He has created the mountains and everything on them. He has created the gods and goddesses and the buildings that they live in, which is their bodies, and he's put the souls in them. And now he's saying that he is Kepri in the morning, he is Ra in the afternoon, and Temu in the evening. So now Aset is going to speak. Jed in Aset and Ra, Anhen ke Apu Emna, Jedu ke Emna A Jed ke Setu. Said by Aset to Ra, not name thine these in things said thee to I. Said thee they. Basically saying all the stuff you said to me, your name is not in any of those things. Your name is not in any of those things you told me. They're wonderful things, but your name is not there, and that's why I'm really interested in it. Na peri tatu metut am zad mu turhene metut. Not have you said they to me. One who this spit out life, understanding through speech, the name spit out comes forth. There's one word missing here that should be, and this is the statement that is on your sheets that I gave you. This is the statement that's on the bottom, I believe. Right?
Yeah.
One who this spit out, she's talking about the name that she has not heard yet. One who this spit out will have life understanding through that speech. And the speech of the name, and will spit out, come forth, poison. One who spits out one who this spits out, life understanding, through speech, the name, spit out poison, comes the poison as well. So basically what it means is that if you bring forth the name, which is the understanding of who you are, you bring out the poison that is killing you. And this is what she's telling to Rob. And it's a metaphor for us. If we bring out the poison that is killing us and our soul, making us have a miserable life, we bring out the name, we also bring out the poison. And if we don't, of course, if we don't bring out the poison, then we die. And we have a miserable existence. And we don't find out who we are essentially. None of the glory of the Shepsi occurs, for the Sheps.
So Mark, before you go on, you want to restate and reiterate that thinking? The answer is yes. Did everybody take notes at this point? Did everybody write that point down? Hint, hint, hint. Repeat it again.
I'm trying to put it in a more dramatic way. More
Say
dramatic
it again.
way.
Say it again. The name you're going to say this and then dramatic.
I'm going to do dramatic and then at the end I'll say it again. After she asked Rob a question, and he goes through all of this stuff. It's like you go to someone someone who is high in government, and ask them, "Oh, who are you?" I'm the president. I am the president of this company, and I'm a millionaire. And I went to Paris, and I went to Rome this afternoon, and I came back for dinner, and I went into Chicago, and I have $1 million, and I have 50 cars in my warehouse. And none of those things tell me who you are. They tell me what you have, what you do, and this is the same way. And all that stuff is killing the soul of a person. It's distracting you, it's keeping you from discovering your true nature, it's leading you to unhappiness later on in life, because all those things you're going to lose. Also keeps you occupied because you have to look after all those things when you have them, and worrying about them. Right? Someone's going to take it from you, you're going to lose it, or are you going to lose your popularity, or are you going to be able to have children, or whatever it is that you desire to do. All that is keeping you bound for those things. And so, what Asad is saying is that if you bring out the truth, then what is negative, the poison, will come to an end. That will come out also. If you bring out the truth, the poison comes out also. And Metu here is the...
That's like turning on the light and the darkness disappears at the same time. The two things happen simultaneously.
Right. So it's a kind of an interesting, seemingly paradoxical statement, but it's actually, probably says symbiotic kind of. There's another word that we could use for that also. Simultaneous process. It's like you come into a dark room, you turn on the light comes on and the darkness goes away at the same time.
So, the poison would that be hidden?
Yes, in this metaphorical sense, the darkness is ignorance and the light is enlightenment. Exactly. So now we're moving ahead. Ra has realized that he cannot survive without acceding to her demands. So she's told that she has the antidote, and all he has to do is to speak the name, and she'll give him the antidote. And so he's replying now. Jedin Hem Ra. Ra Diken Hehui. Am Aset. Ferem Ben Am. Said by Majesty Ra. Ra give to you what seek in I to Aset. Come forth through name, mine through. Kat, next line, Kat, Erkat, Za, Amen, and Su, Neteri, and Neteru. Come forth through name, mine, through body, mine, to body, knowing, hiding, the king, divine, in gods and goddesses. What is happening here is that Ra says, okay, I agree. This is said by the Majesty of Ra, the Hen Ra. I will give to you what you're seeking, but it has to be given in myself. It cannot be, basically alluding to the fact that it cannot be spoken. It will have to come forth, my name, through body, mine, to body, yours. It's basically filling in the parts of speech that are missing. It's not something that can be transmitted through speech, in other words. It has to be transmitted from his essential being to her essential being. In other words, she has to become one with him in order to know the name. In other words, it's not something that can be known through mental thoughts. It's something that has to be done through transcending mind and senses. And you have to come into a communion with the divine in order to know the divine fully. And before they did this, basically it's saying that hiding the king divine in gods and goddesses. Talking about the name that is hidden in all of us and everyone in the gods and goddesses. But it's also alluding to the fact that he said, okay, I'll do this, but we have to go into a separate room to do this, and that's why I took the gods and goddesses away from where they were. So you have to be private, because I don't want them finding out what the name is also.
Sabai?
Yes?
The gods and goddesses exist on the astral plane?
Well, the gods and goddesses exist in all the planes. They operate in all the planes. And some have different functions that place them more in different aspects or different realms of creation than others. Like, for instance, Shu and Tefnut, air and water, they are not just the physical air and water, but they also have the principle of air itself. Because before you can have a physical manifestation of something, you have to have the principle of it. And that is that principle manifests in the astral plane, but is caused in the causal plane.
So this special room that Ra says must be entered, that
it's not specifying that is a different plane or anything like that. It's just giving the idea of privacy. So it's not. I don't think there's anything more to read into beyond that per se. But recall that before, following on the same idea that we talked about where the work of the transformation is done. And remember we talked about the Ka and the astral plane, and also your unconscious mind, which is the causal plane. We didn't discuss that, but I'm adding that now. When you do spiritual work, when you study my philosophy and you enjoy the human act with righteousness and order and truth, and you do actually do that, you're creating Ari that becomes recorded in your unconscious mind in the form of a seed, the form of seed art, and that and that's actually called Ariyu, which means many, a multiplicity of seeds. And which is one reason why the work on the physical plane is powerful, or the things you do in art and the work on the plane are powerful if they are done, how should we say, in a powerful way. The powerful way is through repetition and intention and diligence and desire. But you can have those and desire to do evil things too.
Right.
So see that the energy can go, both ways. But my point I'm getting at is that the reason why the higher energy is more powerful than the lower energy is because that is the original source from which the lower energy was created. So it had to have enough energy there to engender the lower. And the lower is the final result of that energetic movement. So it's a coagulated. All it's going to be when it ends up is a potential. That's why even those powerful atom bombs and all this kind of thing they have here, there are many more powerful things in the universe. But really the creation of the universe, or the creator of the universe, is the most powerful of all the aspects of creation. And this gives you like an idea, so maybe that's not so easily understood. Think about when you have a dream. Who is the most powerful person in your dream world? You are. You are the creator. You can destroy it at any time. A person in your dream can create a bomb and do whatever they want to do. It's all within the realm of your existence, and that existence cannot hurt you no matter what they do in the dream. And you can always dissolve it whenever you want to wake up and that kind of thing. And this is God's dream. And the dream lasts for Hehu, for millions of years, until there's a dissolution, and then it comes back again in a new creation, a new arising from the primeval ocean. Right?
Just why wouldn't Ra want the gods and goddesses to know his name? If in this context, if a Set is coming as a mortal, why is he willing to show her the name and not the divine principle?
Survival. He wants to survive. That's why he's showing her the name. He wouldn't do it otherwise. He's backed into a corner. But in another later writing called the what is that Hermetic text? I'll recall the name. We have written. It's in the Asar Resurrection. We have a passage from it where this is afterwards. Now, when Heru is born, Heru is born after this episode, and Heru she becomes his preceptor, and there's a series of questions that he asks her, and one of the questions is about the nature of reality, the nature of the gods, and their bodies, and so on and so forth. And at some point, Seth says this is one of the questions that you may not know, that you're not supposed to know yet, because this kind of question can unravel the whole mystery creation, things that she goes into all this, and some of course people are not ready for that, as we discussed earlier. But knowing the name, he wouldn't want the gods and goddesses to have the name, because that might give them power over him also, and he wouldn't want that, of course.
Yeah, what about like what we were talking about last night? Symbolically, we would want to propitiate to them or go to them in hopes of getting that. So I think that also symbolizes that there is only one way, to get the true name, and that's through that unification with the divine. There is no other alternative paths. You can't go to gods and goddesses.
Well, it's not. Should not necessarily know that there's not an alternative path. These are avenues. Think of them as avenues. But there are some direct avenues and there are some roundabout avenues. And propitiating the divine, as we discussed, is not an